Hello and welcome to Yoga Basics. I'm Patty, I'll be your instructor. Today we're going to do something with a little bit more intensity. We're going to do a series of poses that when put together is commonly called the Sun Salutation. We're going to do a version of the Sun Salutation, and in this version we're going to keep our hips squared so that we're always facing forward. This is a little bit easier on the low back. And since this practice is a little bit more intense, please just work to your level of comfort. When your breath gets a little rough or you get a little shaky or tired, just take a break and join us when you can, or just watch the first time. So we're going to come to standing. And I recommend a mat for this practice because you will be sliding about a bit as our bodies move through the sequencing. I use yoga gloves that have a non-stick on my hand surface. This makes it a little bit easier for me to find my grip, and it helps with alignment through my elbows and shoulders. These are yoga paws. I love them. All right, so coming almost to the front of your mat and finding Tadasana, Tadasana being your primary standing posture. You're going to save the front of your mat for your fingers, for your hands, whether you can touch the mat with legs straight or with knees bent. Either way is fine. Then you're going to bring those two middle toes to face straight away from you. When the two middle toes are facing straight away from you, your two big toes might be tipped in just a little bit. So it could feel like you're standing with the toes way in. But when you look down, as long as the two middle toes are facing straight away from you, you're in good alignment. Pick your toes up. Press internally at the base of the big toe, not the toe itself, and then press at the base of the pinky toe, not the toe itself, and feel your toes gently spreading apart. Then find the middle of your heels. Try to keep all 3 points on each foot engaged as you gently lay the toes down. Release any gripping in your knees. Firm the midline, so you find the heads of your femur bones up in your hips and you draw them away from each other. It's the opposite of clenching through the hips. So you release through the buttocks, firming the midline, allowing your low belly to gently draw in, trying to make the top of your hips parallel to the floor. Then as you press down with those 3 points on each foot, you're going to lift through the crown of your head. Your fingers reach for the outer balls of your ankles. Your sternum is rising towards your throat. Your scapulas, shoulder blades, are lowering towards your back waist. Your shoulders are spreading away from each other. As you find Tadasana, find your breath. Holding the low belly secure, allow your breath to fill your rib cage and allow your breath to release from the rib cage. So you want your ribs to expand as you inhale, and you want your ribs to contract back down as you exhale, keeping the low belly firm to protect the low back. Once you've found your breath, I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, and we'll set an intention, claiming for yourself what it is that you want, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Take just another moment with this intention. And so it is. Blink your eyes open if they were closed, and let's inhale, arms up, coming up into Urdhva Hastasana, or upwards hands pose. So rebuild the elements of Tadasana, finding 3 points on each foot, the points that surround the arch, firming through the midline, releasing any gripping in the knees, continuing to allow your sternum to rise towards your throat and your scapulas to lower towards your back waist, squeezing the muscles to the bones of the arm, letting your arms, ears, shoulders, hips, and heels be in the same line. Take another inhale here. And as you exhale, open your arms, pull your belly to your spine, and fold forward and hang upside down. Just pause here a minute, allowing your body to shift forward so that your hips are over your heels, and just settle into this stretch using the weight of the torso to open up the back lines of the legs. Take your right hand on your left ankle. Let your right hip move back. If you can't reach the ankle, you're welcome to grab your knee. With the right hand grabbing hold of the left leg, the right hip moving back, lift your left arm up and turn and look up at that hand. Inhale here in your twist. And then exhale, that arm comes back down. Then your left hand is going to grab somewhere on the right leg. Let your left hip move back as you lift the left arm up and you turn and look up at that hand. Inhale here. And exhale, that hand comes back down. Now we're going to come into a pose called chair or Utkatasana. Bend your knees, draw your belly into your spine, and lift your torso and your arms and your face up. Keep your knees bent. We're again trying to find the arms, ears, shoulders, hips, and heels on the same line. It's just the knees that are coming forward. You don't want to feel this in the backside. You want to feel this pose in your calf muscles, allowing your calf muscles to stretch so that we can fold forward farther. While in Utkatasana, you're going to lift the lungs up as you subtly aim the hips down, making room in your belly for some diaphragmatic breathing. Allowing the belly to seemingly fill on the inhale and then drawing the belly back to your spine on the exhale. And the fluttering of the diaphragm as we do the diaphragmatic breathing in this posture can massage the lower walls of the heart, releasing any stagnant fluid and energy. So after a few full belly breaths here in Utkatasana, we're going to inhale into a back bend. And then exhale into a forward fold again. Placing your fingers on the mat or your hands on your legs, look up. Open your shoulders, pushing your inner thighs back, reaching your head away from your hips. Take an inhale here in what we call flat back. And then exhale and fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step your right foot back and come down on that right knee. Flatten that foot. Let your hands come on the inside of your left foot. Allow that left knee to open, and if you can, sink down to your right forearm. And if you've still got room, sink down to your left forearm, coming into lizard, a good inner thigh stretch. Take a nice long breath here. Pulling the belly back for that exhale. And then allow that left knee to lift up, flatten the left foot. You can grab it with your right hand. Take your left hand and drape it over the top of that thigh. Drop through your right hip, turning your belly into that left thigh, and holding firmly onto your knee, try to pull that left hip back without actually moving it, engaging the muscles on the outside of this hip. Inhale here. And then exhale, release the pose. Plant your hands, tuck your back toes again, pick that knee up, and then step back into a down dog. Letting your feet be about hip width apart, lowering your inner heels down to the mat a little faster than the outer heels, rolling your elbows in so that your triceps go underneath the arms. Your hands are spread wide, fingers pressing at their second knuckle. That's the knuckle away from the palm. As you press through the second knuckle, the fingers get light, but the hands get heavy. Again, you're rolling the triceps in. Now find your low belly. Draw it in and reach your hips away from your hands, getting long in the dog. From here, let's take another stretch. So lower your right heel and lift your left leg up. Reach that aerial heel away from your hands, stretching in those calf muscles on the right side. And then externally roll that left leg, lift it higher, and drop your heel to your buttock. Your right heel is pressing to the mat as the left leg lifts. Inhale here into your three-legged dog. And then exhale, 4 on the floor. Other side. Now the left heel goes down and your right leg lifts. Draw that aerial heel back, going long in the arms. Then externally roll that leg, lift it higher, drop heel to buttock. Your left heel presses to the mat, towards the mat anyway, and your right knee lifts up. Inhale here, then exhale, 4 on the floor. Taking another breath here in your down dog. And then let's bring that right leg forward, drag it up there if you have to, and come down on the left knee. Flatten the left foot. Bring your hands on the inside of that right foot and let your right knee open. If you've got room, sink down to your left forearm. And if there's still room, come down to your right forearm. And take a breath here in lizard on this side. Drawing the belly back to the spine for the exhale. Then pick the right knee up, bring your right arm over it. Your left hand can grab hold of that right foot. Drop through the left hip, turning your belly into your thigh, holding firmly on the knee. Try to pull that knee back, engaging the external hip flexors. Inhale here. And as you exhale, release the pose. Plant the hands on the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift the knee, step forward, and hang. Arms wide. Lift with your belly. Lift all the way up. Inhale. And then exhale, hands to your heart. Let's keep going. We're going to turn this into high lunges instead of the knee down on the floor. So find your breath, find your Tadasana, and inhale, arms up. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees, draw your belly in, lift your arms and your torso straight up into Utkatasana. Make sure you're pulling your belly in and sitting your hips inwards towards your heels. Your sternum is lifting, your scapulas are lowering, and if you'd like to challenge your balance, gently look up, breathing with your belly. Exaggerating the movements of the belly seemingly filling on the inhale, and the belly drawing back to your spine on the exhale. Let's inhale into a back bend and exhale into a forward fold. Inhale into a flat back and exhale back to a forward fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands. This time step your left foot back, push into your feet and lift all the way up into a high lunge. Both your hips are facing forward. Let that left leg be straight. Pull the low belly in and put your right knee right over your right heel. Put more weight into your forward foot, more weight into your forward thigh, and let's take a stretch here. Bringing your right hand to your low back, support it as you lift up and over that hand into a little back bend. Inhale. And exhale and fold. Plant your hands on the mat, step back, down dog. Take a breath here. Then slide into plank. Shoulders over wrists. Pull the shoulders away from each other and lift with your belly. Look up because you're working, and take a full cycle of breath. Now I like to modify this to protect the shoulders. So bring your knees down, feet up. You're going to do a closed elbow, slow lowering to the floor. Inhale here. And as you exhale, bring your belly down to the mat. Now let your toes reach away from you. Your toes are going to try to touch or at least come closer together on their inner edges, and then you want the toes to stay on the floor. Then squeeze through your buttocks. This is going to lengthen through the low back, and as you squeeze the buttocks down, you reach the crown of your head away from your hips and lift your chest up off the mat. Keep your belly pressing into the mat and breathe here. Allowing the muscle fibers on the outside of the pelvis to push the pelvis down, and try to breathe with your belly so that the inhale kind of rocks you up just a little, and the exhale draws the belly more firmly towards the spine. This particular pose is excellent for the pancreas, for the regulation and production of insulin in the body. Now let's take this Bhujangasana Cobra and twist it. So look over your left shoulder, inhale. And on your exhale, look up and over that shoulder, attempting to see your left foot. Then bring yourself back forward and look over your right shoulder. Inhale. And on the exhale, reach up and around, attempting to see your right foot from over your shoulder. And bring yourself back forward, take an in-breath. And on the exhale, fold back down. Pick up your feet, your buttocks, and press to your knees. Tuck your toes and lift up into a down dog. Take a breath. Let's bring that left foot forward, plant it, push into your feet as you lift your torso and your arms up, coming into a high lunge on this side. Your hips are squared to the front of your mat, back leg is straight, belly's drawing in. Put more weight in your forward heel, and then bring your left hand to your low back. Support your low back as you lift up and over that hand. Inhale into this gentle back bend. And exhale and fold. Plant your hands, step forward, and hang. Arms wide. Lift with your belly, lift up. Inhale. And exhale, hands to your heart. Let's do one more. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees, lift up into Utkatasana chair, and breathe with your belly. And draw that belly back on the exhale, tucking your tailbone towards your heels. And then let's inhale into a back bend. And exhale into a forward fold. Inhale into a flat back. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step your right foot back. Push into your feet and lift up. You're in a high lunge. Breathing here, putting more weight into your feet, more weight into your legs. Lift with your heart. Take another in-breath. And exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back, down dog. Take a breath here. Releasing the spine as you stretch your hips away from your hands. Then slide into plank. Take another breath. Look up, you're working, pull your shoulders apart, pull your belly in, especially on the exhale. And then modify. Knees down, feet up. Inhale here, and exhale down to your belly. Your toes reach away from you, to the mat, towards each other. Push with the hips and lift the crown of your head up away from the squeezing buttocks. Breathe here. Allowing the belly to move with the breath, giving you a massage on those internal organs. Take another inhale and fold back down on your exhale. Pick up your feet and your buttocks and press back to your knees. Tuck toes, down dog. Draw your right foot forward and lift all the way up. Pushing into your feet. Your belly is in, your chest and heart are lifting, and you're breathing. Long, smooth, and deep. Another inhale here. And exhale and fold. Plant your hands, step forward, and hang. Let your arms go wide, lift with your belly, lift up, inhale, and exhale, hands to your heart. There was a brief sun salutation, a few rounds each side, and now let's do some upside down work. So coming down to your mat or to the floor, grab some blankets. And what we're gonna do is put the hips on the blankets and let your back come to the mat. With your back on the mat, just lift your legs up. You can go ahead and roll through your ankles here, going one way and then the other. You can spread and clench your toes, allowing the feet to be above the head and the hips just a little bit above your heart. This is an excellent way to improve the function of the lymphatic system, and we're also improving the function of the valves that allow the blood to work its way back up to the heart. So squeezing and releasing through the muscles of your legs. When a valve fails and the blood slides back down, that's what causes varicose veins, and those aren't good. They can trap energy, and so you want to try to maintain the health of the valves by putting your feet above your head on a regular basis. All right, now from here, we're going to twist it out. So bring your feet down to the mat, press into your feet, lift your hips, and remove the blankets. While your hips are in the air, shift them to the right, lower them to the mat. Hips are offset to the right. Straighten your left leg and draw your right knee into your chest. pull the right knee and point the left toe so that we can get a stretch across the figure 8 shaped mesh of muscles that comprise the pelvic floor. Inhale into your stretch, and then exhale that knee across, bringing the knee to the floor on the left side. Reach your right arm up and open, and turn your head looking down that straight right arm, and melt. Allowing yourself to rest in this shape, allowing the bones of the back or the hips that might have shifted during practice to slide back into their proper place, and remembering that this is a very nourishing pose for the whole spine. All right, inhale here, and as you exhale, draw your belly into your spine and roll to your back. Feet on the mat and square your hips. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Now while they're in the air, shift them to the left and lower. Hips are offset to the left. Your right leg goes straight, your left knee draws in. Pull that left knee and point the right toes. Now we're stretching at the other angle in the pelvic floor area. Inhale into your stretch. And exhale that knee across, bringing the knee all the way to the floor on the right, reaching the left arm up and open. And turn your head, looking down that straight left arm, and then melt into the shape of the pose on this side. Soften your fingers, your feet, your face, allowing your breath to gently spiral in and gently spiral out, maybe turning your head a little bit more as you exhale. And then inhale here. And on the exhale, draw your knee into your belly and roll to your back. Feet on the mat and square your hips. Once you're square, let's go ahead and have a happy baby. So that's going to be pulling the knees into the belly, soles of the feet to the ceiling. Grabbing hold of the outer edges of your feet, open your feet wide and pull your knees down towards your armpits. And if I wasn't wearing a microphone on my back, I would rock side to side. But I can't do it because there's a pack back there. But if you can rock side to side, feel free to do it. You'll be rocking over your kidney and adrenal area, and this is a good massage. After you are done here, after you feel complete, release the baby. And bring your knees back into your chest. So we're going to do a couple of squeezes here. With your feet side by side, wrap your arms around your legs. Inhale. And on the exhale, lift up and squeeze yourself into a tiny little ball. These are giving some massages for the inside of the body. Release the squeeze, inhale. And exhale, squeeze, tuck your chin, pull your belly back, try to get really tiny, tiny. And then release, inhale. And then exhale, squeeze yourself, make yourself as little as you can get. And then release. And let your legs go long down the mat. Let's go that way. Then we're going to come in to a quick, brief Shavasana. Shavasana being the most important pose in all of yoga. In your Shavasana, you're going to release the tension that you built up in your body. Rock until your low back is comfortable. If your low back doesn't feel comfortable and you want to put blankets under the knees, you may. Then let your toes splay open. Try to get your palms to face up. Let your upper back flatten, however you can do that. And then tuck your chin so that you get long in the neck. And then melt into the shape of this posture. And as you melt into your Shavasana, just observe. Observe your breath. Observe your body. Observe your mind. You can swallow, releasing through your throat, letting the skin on your cheeks go slack. Allow your tongue to rest gently in the back of your mouth, releasing any conversation with yourself, and instead tuning in to observation of yourself, observing as you allow your tongue to spread side to side. Soften your face. Bring your gaze inward. Be brave and release the grip of your brain, letting it rest gently in the back of your skull. Let your skull widen and spread on the mat. Spend just a few more moments here, tuning in to the best of your ability into the various vibrations of you. And then let's go ahead and deepen the breathing. Wiggle fingers and toes, make circles with your wrists and your ankles one way and then the other. And then reach your arms up long and stretch your fingers away from your feet. Make space, especially through your belly. And release. Drawing your knees into your belly, roll to your right side and make a pillow for your head with your right arm. Take this moment and thank yourself for your practice. Inhale. And on the exhale, use mostly the strength of the left arm to gently press yourself up. Coming into any comfortable seated posture that you'd like with your hands back at your heart. Lift your heart, bow your head. Namaste. Thank you.